Hi, I'm Town Administrator Andy Sheehan. Thank you for joining me for the next installment of this video series that I'm doing. At my first video last week, I asked people to email me ideas of things that they would like to hear me talk about. So I'll take up one of those requests today. I received a request from a resident asking me to talk about some of the aspects of how town government works in Middleton. So it is a big topic. Certainly more than I can accomplish in one video, but it's something that that I'll start today and I'll work on as we go forward and fill in the gaps. So hopefully that you get a better sense of how your local government operates. So the most important single document for the town of Middleton and how Middleton operates is the town charter. The town charter you can think of like our US Constitution or the Massachusetts Constitution. Not every town has a charter, but every town can have a charter. Every city has a charter. So our charter was adopted in 1974, and it followed on the adoption of the Home Rule Amendment to the Massachusetts Constitution. And in the deliberations surrounding the Home Rule Amendment to the Constitution, the Massachusetts Constitution, towns were encouraged to adopt charters. Not every town did. There are plenty of towns, particularly smaller towns, but not necessarily smaller towns, but there are plenty of towns that do not have a charter. They rely on bylaws and statutes in Massachusetts Massachusetts general laws that guide certain aspects. So a couple of things that the charter does, it determines how positions are filled. It determines how town meeting is conducted, or whether you have an open town meeting like Middleton has, or you have a representative town meeting like certain other communities. For instance, Danvers has a representative town meeting. So those are a couple of things, sort of the big decisions that the charter does. So I'll talk today about positions and how certain positions are filled. And it really comes down to whether positions are elected or appointed. Now we have a number of positions in Middleton that are filled by election. A number of them have to be filled by election. The Board of Selectmen, School Committee, those have to be filled by election, and those are filled the terms are 3 years for those positions. So in Middleton, in addition to the Board of Selectmen and the School Committee, other elected positions include the Masconomet School Committee members, which those positions are reflected in the charter, but also in the Masconomet Regional Agreement. The Planning Board, the Board of Library Trustees, the Light Commissioners, the Board of Assessors, the Housing Authority, the Town Clerk, and the Town Moderator and the Constable are all filled by election. For the most part, those boards or officials supervise the employees in their respective departments. Positions that are not filled by election are filled by appointment. For the most part, those are filled by the Board of Selectmen. Those include my position, the Town Administrator, as well as the Town Accountant, Chief Financial Officer, the Treasurer Collector, the Public Works Superintendent, the Town Council, which is our Town Attorney, and the Police and Fire Chiefs. Those are all filled by Board of Selectmen. And then any other department head position is filled by the Board of Selectmen. In addition to all of those positions that I mentioned that are filled by the Board of Selectmen, they also appoint most of the standing committees and some of the ad hoc committees in town. So the Board of Health, the Conservation Commission, the Zoning Board of Appeals, and others are filled by the Board of Selectmen. There are a few that are appointed by the town moderator or by some other means, but generally they are appointed by the Board of Selectmen. For the most part, the department heads are left to manage their respective departments. We hire people that we know, that we have confidence in, to manage their departments, and we set that expectation for them, and we stay out of their way and let them do that. They don't need to be micromanaged, and I don't need to be micromanaging them, and the board doesn't need to be micromanaging them. So we have good people in these positions, and we give them the resources that they need, and they deliver the results for us, and it's pretty plain and simple in that regard. So so that's sort of the first piece of the town charter. The piece that I'll talk about today, again, in the future I'll talk about town meeting. I'll talk about we'll talk about budgeting and finance and how some of those elements are conducted, and the structure, or the reporting structure for those things. They're a little bit beyond where what we have time for in one of these short videos, but certainly over the coming weeks and months we'll get to those things. Well, and we'll try to fit them in timely. So we'll talk about town meeting as town meeting is approaching. We'll talk about the budget development process as we're in that process and as we're getting close to the annual town meeting. So I did promise that I would share with you all a quote at every one of these videos. Today's quote comes from Michelangelo. It obviously goes back a few centuries. He talks about the need for us all to not become complacent and to stretch ourselves beyond just what we know we can accomplish, and stretch ourselves to more than we thought we could accomplish. So, so the quote goes like this: "The greater danger for most of us lies not in setting our aim too high and falling short, but setting our aim too low and achieving our mark." Unquote. I think it's pretty appropriate, and sort of ties in indirectly with the quote that I shared last week, which talks about the pace of change, and that things are changing faster now than they've ever changed. We have to change with it, and so we have to set our expectations high in order to continue to meet our personal goals and to meet the goals of whatever organization we're working in my case, for the town of Middleton. So again, today's topic came to me from a resident, which is great because it tells me that at least somebody is thinking about this issue and wants to hear about that, and probably other people are listening or thinking about it as well. So please email me at andrew.sheehan@middletonma.gov, and we'll try to work your ideas and your requests in. And thank you again to Paul Pellicelli and Adam Stone at Cable Access for producing the series of videos. Thanks for watching. Be safe and be well.